In this video, we're going to prove the following theorem. If S equals V1 through Vn is the basis for vector space V, then every vector in V can be written in one and only one way as a linear combination of the vectors in S. The way you prove these type of theorems is you suppose there's two ways of writing a vector in V. So first, let us choose some vector in V. Let V be in V. Assume V is equal to C1 V1 V1 plus C2 V2 all the way down to Cn Vm, and V is equal to D1 V1 plus D2 V2 all the way down to Dn Vn. So, since this and this both equal to V, we have that C1 V1 plus C2 V2 all the way down to Cn Vn is equal to D1 V1 plus D2 V2 all the way down to Dn Vn. Well, that means that C1 V1 minus D1 V1, that is this minus that because I brought it to the other side, plus C2 V2 minus this D2 V2 all the way down to Cn Vn minus that Dn Vn is equal to 0. But this is the same as C1 minus D1 V1 plus that's the same as C2 minus D2 V sub 2 all the way down to Cn minus Dn times Vn equal to 0. Well, if you equal the 0 vector, okay, so we have this, excuse me. And now, let's see what we know. We know that this set here is a basis for vector space V. That means that S is linearly independent. Okay, now, since S is a basis for V, that implies that S is a linearly independent set. So, if this is 0, that is, if I found these real numbers that I multiply by V1 and V2 and all the way up to Vn and I add them together and I get 0, then all the coefficients must be 0. So, C1 minus D1 equals 0, C2 minus D2 equals 0, all the way down to Cn minus Dn equals 0. That is, C1 equals to D1 from here. This says that C2 equals D2 all the way down to this, which has Cn equal Dn. But that implies that Just want to think how to say it. that just implies that V can, V is an unique, okay, here we go. This implies V can be expressed as a linear combination of vectors in S in a unique way. Maybe I should say only. V can only be expressed as a linear combination of vectors in S in a unique way. And that completes this theorem. If you like videos like this, where all we do is prove various theorems, obviously this channel is made for you. Please subscribe. Tell your friends and enemies and teachers and classmates and family members about my YouTube channel. Ask them to subscribe. Most of all, watch and learn. See you in the next video.